A crisis of confidence is certainly a phrase being heard on Wall Street these days. Check out this. It's making the rounds on the internet these days. Coupons for all the one-time big names in banking. Yep, it's true. For more on this crisis of confidence, we have Doug Hirschhorn. He is an expert in market psychology and CEO of DrDoug.com. And in Raleigh this evening, Doug Ariely, James B. Duke, professor of behavioral economics at Duke University and author of Predictably Irrational. Gentlemen, it's good to have you both with us tonight. Doug, let me start with you because you're here. This is really a crisis of confidence we're suffering. And what is the individual investor to do when they look at stock like Berkshire Hathaway going way down, of course, run by the Oracle of Omaha, Warren Buffett, Goldman Sachs at $50 a share? Right. That's jarring.
It's very troublesome, and I think that the adage of "don't worry, things will be okay" is kind of getting a little old for people. And while it might be sage advice for the long term, the fact is that I think that people, the mainstream people, and even professionals, look to Warren Buffett as kind of the golden bear of how to do things right. And when they see that even he's in trouble or caught into a bad situation, it gets very concerning and troublesome. And what you have to remember, the one thing that you can never do is panic. If you panic, you are done. And as a consumer, you have to take a step back, breathe, and view these situations, as hard as it might be, view them as opportunistic for yourself, for your careers, reflect, see what you can do. And if you have to become entrepreneurial, that's an okay option as well.
Dan, as part of the problem here is we entrusted Wall Street as investors, and they betrayed us?
Yeah, that's right. So let me tell you a little story about an experiment we do. We call the trust game with revenge. So imagine we have two players, player A and player B, and we give each of them $10. And we say to player A, if you want, you can send your $10 to player B, and it would magically quadruples. So by the time player B would get it, it will be $50. The original 10 plus 40, and player B can split the money, 25-25, or they can go home with $50. It turns out when you give this game to people, you say, why would player A ever give the money and trust player B? But people trust them and people reciprocate. That's the good news. The bad news is that if player B walks away with the money, we can give player A a chance to take revenge. We can say, player A, if you want to, give me, the experiment, $1, and for each dollar you give me, I will take $2 away from player B. Give me $5, I'll take 10. Give me 13, I'll take 26. And you know what? People love taking revenge. And more interestingly, a group of Swiss scientists did a project in which they show that when people plot and execute revenge, the parts of their brain that get activated is the same part of the brain that gets activated when we have other pleasurable events. Sex, heroin, eating food. So in some sense, plotting and executing revenge is pleasurable. Now, I think that this game, even though it's with small dollars, is basically the game we played with Wall Street. We gave them our mortgages, we gave them our 401ks, and they basically walked away with the $50. At least that's the feeling that we have. They've betrayed our social trust. And now the question is, how are you going to fix it? The guests that were beforehand talked about injecting more liquidity into the market. Look, it's not working. Why is all this liquidity not going to work? Because it's missing this fundamental value.
Let me jump in there, Professor, and ask Doug here. I mean, revenge, better than sex, I guess. But who's getting avenged here?
That's another kind of show.
Who's getting revenge or avenged?
Dan, you gave me so much to think about there.
And it's turned to sex therapy. I like that.
Yeah, I was totally mesmerized. But who are we taking? What's getting avenged?
Well, we've talked about it. If you recall a while ago, we actually talked about trading for revenge. That's a very normal experience that people, when they're wrong, they want to get back. I think what might be happening now, in some level, is people might feel like that they are avenging their own sanity, honor, their earnings. They feel like they need to get back at something because they've been robbed or duped by a system. And I got to tell you something. When we all talk about these things like CDSs and MBSs, the average person does not understand what that language means. And it's a very complicated thing to look at your 401k and see it's down 40%, and someone's saying, well, it's mortgage-backed securities. You're saying, well, I don't even know what that word means. I know I have a mortgage, but what is that instrument? And so people, because they don't understand it, they get very fearful and frightened. Educating yourself is a very important thing at this time.
So at this point, how do we restore this confidence? How do we get people back in the game to hand Wall Street back their dollars? Because that's ultimately, at the end of the day, what is preventing us from moving higher.
Melissa, I got to tell you, it comes down to leadership. In any system, when
from where? Where?
From powerful, influential, visible people. I think we've got a great catalyst here with Obama. I think we have a great opportunities here with the new presidency and a new America. If people can start to think about creating positive change in their lives and view this as opportunity and start to come collectively and look for proactive ways to start to solve problems.
Very quickly, does Obama need to get out on the pulpit immediately?
I think yes.
What do you say, Professor?
I think it's more than that. I think we need to think about how do we create trust. And I would, for example, think that if the U.S. government is going into any bank, they should create new legislation for what we're going to require from that bank. What kind of punishment will we have in the future if people would have another transgression? And actually, my big hope is that one of the banks, Citi, Bank of America, somebody who's still standing, would decide to be the good guy. And we decide to say, look, here is the problem as we understand them. Conflict of interest don't work. We put our brokers in this situation, they made a mess out of it. Complex instruments don't work very well. And we are going to be the good guys. We're going to be transparent and therefore build trust. And without that, I just don't see how things are going. You know, these fluctuations we see in the market cannot be traced back to any fundamentals whatsoever. It's just craziness.
Professor, we're going to have to leave it there tonight. Thanks so much.